Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. Read a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday. Don't mind my hair. It is a work in progress. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing with it. I did something I don't particularly care for, so I'm going to undo that. But anyway, here we are. So yeah, I'm just going to let my hair breathe and rest for a while because I don't want to damage it. So please deal with all the colors, non-colors, all the whatever is happening in here, whatever is happening. So anyways, today I want to talk about, sorry, my brain can, oh God, it's going to be one of those days, isn't it? Yeah, so, all right. I know I've been running around already this morning, so I'm just kind of like, now I have to sit down. It's kind of like I'm all wound up. But anyways, we're going to talk about internet trolls. Okay, so, and it is a little different than cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is usually aimed at one particular person, which is still bad. I know I did a show a long time ago about cyberbullying, so maybe we'll do another one this week. But I already have 2 shows planned. Today we're going to do internet trolls. It's kind of going to be, I guess, well, no, it won't be. Tomorrow might be soapboxy, but not really. Hi, good morning, Muddy. Good morning, older sibling. I know, my curls are, wow, they're in full force today, right? I feel I look like a poodle or a cocker spaniel with the ears. Oh my gosh. So I have to say, speaking of dogs, my cousin and I were at we're having breakfast on Saturday after we got to see the inside of the Mormon temple, which, you know, not converted, sorry, to the Mormons, but you know, if anybody understands the Mormon religion, the temples are generally closed to the public. So the last time this particular temple was open was 33 years ago when they built it. And, excuse me, so I got to go in. But anyways, we had lunch there and had the cutest long-haired dachshund. Oh my God, I was dying. It was so cute. And the guy had it in a bag. And it was just, oh, seriously, just so cute. Anyway, all right, that's not what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about internet trolls. So I have some stuff that I wrote down, and then we'll talk. Okay, so let's go. And again, you know, I probably shouldn't have said anything about my hair because then you won't be focusing on it. But I turned the camera on. It's like, whoa, I see my hair. So anyways, internet trolls. Internet trolls are individuals. Oh, I went to Google you for this one. So internet trolls are individuals who deliberately post inflammatory, offensive, or disruptive messages online to provoke strong emotional reactions, seek amusement, or manipulate discussions. While some operate casually for personal entertainment, others are part of organized, politically motivated campaigns, sometimes utilizing paid troll farms to sow division. So, for all my nerds out there, if you saw the newest Superman, okay, James Gunn was kind of making fun of a certain group of people with the monkeys at the computer typing all this shit about Superman and all the lies and bad stuff and just putting him down, right? You know, like some people do in the middle of the night when they tweet to their account about how awful everybody is but themselves. Anyways. You know, technically, if you really stop and think about it, what that particular person does is internet trolling. It really is. And it's gaslighting. It is just feeding the gaslighting and, you know, feeding the anger and the hate and the racism and the misogyny of other people. So anyways, trolls thrive in online spaces where hidden identities or fake accounts protect them from real-world consequences. The psychological traits. Psychological studies frequently link trolling behavior to the dark triad of personality traits: Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy, often paired with high capacity for schadenfreude, which is deriving pleasure from others' misfortune. I'm going to read about those in a second. And the disruption. They intentionally derail conversations, attack public figures, flood comment sections, and harass specific groups to create toxic atmospheres. And they do it well. They do it well. We'll talk about that. So Machiavellianism is manipulation, lack of empathy, cynicism, and emotional detachment. Schadenfreude it's a combination of two words. Okay, I actually, I don't know if it's ringing a bell in older siblings' mind, but it is in my mind. There was an episode of Mom where she's like, well, you have Schadenfreude. So anyways, Schadenfreude is a combination of two words. Schaden equals damage or harm, and Freude means joy. So together, it's like you're taking pleasure in other people's misfortune, as I said earlier. There are three categories, and also Schadenfreude is often broken down into three categories: aggression, rivalry, and justice. So if you feel like, if everybody gets their way, at some point, a lot of us will have Schadenfreude because we'll be like, justice has been served. Justice is done. But it's still reveling in someone else's misfortune. But, for a lot of people, I understand that for when they feel justice hasn't been done. And then when it's done, it's kind of like, it's a relief, right? It's not always necessarily taking joy in someone else's pain. It's a relief for a lot of people. So there are different types of, excuse me. Older sibling and I both woke up with sore throats today. So instead of tea, I decided coffee would probably help. Anyway. Types of trolls. Trolls can be seriously, it's going to be one of those days. All right. I can't see who else is on, but good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. Good evening. Trolls can be categorized into several types based on their motivations and methods. Purposive trolls. And, many times these are bots from troll farms. So if you see someone just starting crap, like say you're on a post about, whatever, that you're reading about, and you're like, oh yeah, and then all of a sudden you get that, that really stupid comment. Look at their handle. A lot of times they're bots. What they call robots, but now they call them bots, okay? They call them bots. And basically it's just a program that just goes to disrupt. Or, and they make up fake accounts from the troll farms and then send them on their way, and then just to be disruptive. And to really kind of raise the ire and anger. And if you start looking at it, a lot of times people just get, they just lose their shit. They start, people start going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then you start moving away from the entire message that was initially there. So, these trolls seek to provoke conflict or achieve specific goals such as gaining attention or visibility for their opinions. Harassment trolls. These individuals target specific users with the intent to harm or intimidate them, often causing significant distress. That can also be considered cyberbullying, but again, cyberbullying is a little bit different because it's consistent harassment by one person to another direct person. So this one could just be a bunch of trolls, and I'm going to cover that one in a second because I saw an article and it blew my mind. Not in a good way. And then I was like, oh, you know what? We need to talk about internet trolls. And disruptive troll. They post irrelevant or off-topic comments to derail conversations and create confusion. So, motivations behind trolling. Seeking attention. Many enjoy the attention they receive from provoking others, which is probably falling under the dark triad of, Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy. Cannot talk today. Let's see. Emotional amusement. Some find joy in the chaos and emotional distress they cause. Again, the dark triad. And spreading misinformation. Trolls may aim to manipulate perceptions or disrupt discussions for ideological reasons. Sound familiar? Anybody? Folks out there? Oh, I know. So much for being neutral on this one. Anyway. The impact on online communities. Trolling can have detrimental effects on online communities, including psychological distress. Victims of trolling may experience anxiety, depression, or a sense of isolation, and community disruption. Trolls can undermine healthy discussions, driving away valuable members and creating a toxic atmosphere. So dealing with trolls. the first thing I wrote, do not feed the trolls. Do not feed the trolls. I kind of feel like this is an affront to trolls, all right? Because I'm sure not all trolls are bad. I mean, we saw the troll movie, right? They were cute. And remember those little fuzzy ones? You shake them up and their hair goes everywhere? Yeah. So we're talking about just the dark side of trolls. I swear they could come up with a better name. Like just, you know, ignorant. The ignorance out there, you know? Because I like trolls. And I feel like this is just being mean to them, you know? So, number 1, avoid engagement. After a while of arguing, you don't need to have, okay, so this is me right here. After a while of arguing, you don't need to have the last word. Because here's the thing, they're just going to keep going and going and going because they don't care. They provoked you, and now you need to have the last word. A lot of times what I will do, if somebody, you know, if I make a comment somewhere, and somebody sits there and goes, blah, 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 I will just either mute the conversation so I don't get the notifications or block the notifications, or I will write my retort and then mute the conversation. And they can say whatever the hell they want because I'm not going to feed it. You know, but if you're going to call me out, I do feel like sometimes, not all the time, that I feel like I have the right to defend myself. So anyways, do not respond to them as this can encourage them encourage further disruptive behavior. Don't be me. Don't be me and leave that comment and then leave. But no, sometimes I do feel like I need to defend myself, especially if you make a comment on someone else's post, right? Just a casual comment like, yeah, this is great, and blah, 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 and someone else comes in, well, you're dumb. If it's something like that, it's just like, whatever, I just roll my eyes and mute. But if it's, you know, but if they start getting personal, I know I should leave it alone. I usually do, but sometimes I don't. And then I just mute the conversation because I'm not going to feed it any farther than that. Number 2, document behavior, report them if necessary. In this day and age, right now, the world we're living in, reporting people doesn't mean squat. Okay, Twitter had a lot of problems. I'm not going to call it what they call it now because I refuse to. Twitter had a lot of problems of people being harassed, people being, you know, basically just being socially harassed. And they reported it to Twitter and Twitter said, sorry, no problem. But when somebody on Twitter's side, the owner's side, would complain about someone, that other person would get a warning. So you can see that it's a little bit lopsided right now, right? I never seen or read the book 1984, but I figure it's a lot like that, where they're controlling the dialogue. And that's not good. Okay, they also unleashed a bunch of people from Twitter prison that should have never been released from Twitter prison because they're vile, they're ignorant, and they're trolls. They're basically just trolls. Number 3, utilize privacy settings. I talked about this. On Twitter, you can mute the conversation, or on other platforms, you can, you know, just not get notifications, or you can mute notifications, or you can even block a person. I have a friend who had a problem with a former friend who went kind of bonkers. And they needed to figure out how to block them on one of their social media sites. So we figured it out. To the Google, right? Google knows everything. So number 4, block and report. Again, not always helpful, but you know, just keep doing it anyways. Even if it feels like a lost cause, just do it. Because if anything, it's got to go on some kind of, you know, noted electronic record. But also keep records for yourself, okay? Because sometimes harassment can move beyond the internet, and you don't want that to happen. So don't let the chaos ruin your mental health. All right? Don't let the chaos ruin your mental health. So I'm going to share why I decided to do internet trolls. A couple days ago, I was on Facebook. This is story number 1. A couple days ago, I was on Facebook, and I have a Facebook friend. I've never actually met in person, but we became Facebook friends through my cousins because they're very zen, right? And then all of a sudden, I don't know how we became friends, but they asked me to friend them, and it's like, okay, because I guess I post a lot of positive stuff sometimes. But anyways, they just posted something about President Obama's library. And they ended up having to take it down. This is their Facebook page, okay? Their private Facebook page, which yeah, I get sometimes people make their stuff public, but it's still, this is their page. And they ended up having to take it down because in the comment that he posted on Facebook, he's just like, I don't understand why people are so hateful. And he's all, I just posted about the Obama Presidential Library, and I got so many hate comments. And then he puts in parentheses, I already took the post down. And, I'm pretty sure they're Buddhists. So, they're very Zen, right? Very just non-combative, non-confrontational, just kind of just trying to preach the peace, right? And then you have all these people who are just commenting on something that you posted that made you happy. Then there was another one. So I thought, well, that poor guy, I'm not going to name names. Not my story, so I'm not going to name names. But I wanted to share kind of the seedlings for this particular show. And then a couple days later, I was on Facebook, and I like to go through the entertainment stuff. I'm not going to lie. I don't know why sometimes, But I read this article about this one footballer in England. I don't know who he is. I think his name was Declan Rice. I don't know who he plays for, just that he was a footballer. And I was reading the article because they were talking, a lot of times they just show the pictures. And I guess his girlfriend was being harassed by the public after sometimes celebrities they'll put their life out there for you. They don't have to. They owe you nothing. They could put the privacy setting on and say, sorry, screw you. And, but a lot of times they just share things, or they share things and not realize they can keep their thing private. And all of a sudden, they just came down on her. They just came down on her. Okay, the girl had a kid not too long ago, but one of the comments, which kind of just threw me, was, I'm glad she's not a skinny girl. Are you kidding me? I'm not sure if people realize that that's still a bad comment. Not because you're talking about her directly, but because, you think that you have some kind of right to say something like that in public. From behind a keyboard. It got to the point where she ended up taking down a bunch of her pictures. There were people that were saying he can do better, this, that, and the other. And it's like, what the actual hell? Seriously? She ended up taking down a lot of her pictures from Instagram, which sucks because, this is her life too, right? I mean, yeah, she's kind of splashed into the limelight along with him, and they've been together since, I guess, high school. And they have a kid together, and it's like, they're 20 years down the road. This stuff is still on the internet. All right? And if this kid just does a Google on his parents, even as a teenager, he's going to see the horrible things that people said about his mom. But people don't think about that. How would you like if, I'm not saying anybody on here watching, because I'm pretty sure that none of you are internet trolls, but I sometimes wonder if the internet trolls sit there and go, what if, somebody put something of me out there, and a lot of times I do think that the types of trolls are out there kind of melt into the same line as cyberbullying, where it's a hurt person hurting people. But cyberbullying, I think that's really part of the dark triad. I'm being honest, because you got to have literally zero empathy or compassion to just go after somebody. I mean, cyberbullying got so bad at one point that teenagers were literally taking their own lives because they couldn't handle it anymore. Because their cyberbullying would get so bad, they'd go to school and it would follow them there, right? Because the internet is everywhere. The internet is all powerful. But it's only as powerful as we make it. It's only as powerful as, the power we give it. When you feed the trolls, I still hate saying trolls. Every time I say trolls, I think of those cute little trolls. But, every time you feed that internet monster, well, even monsters are kind of cute. I don't know. Let's just say the internet loser. Let's call him that. Every time you feed that internet loser, you are just, you're giving them exactly what they want. You are feeding into them. You were getting angry. You were getting more and more mad, right? And then you sit there and at some point you are just pounding on your keyboard or on your phone. And you have to ask yourself, is it really worth it? Because they're going to walk away from their computer and they're just going to be like, and you're going to walk away and you're angry. You're just angry. And why? Because of the internet trolls. And again, I can't say internet trolls. I'm sorry. I know that this is the comedy part of the show. I just keep seeing those cute little trolls. So internet losers. Every time you see those internet losers, don't feed them. Don't give them the satisfaction. Because you know what? They don't deserve your peace. They don't deserve your peace. And when you feed them, they're taking a little bit of that peace from you on that day. I'm sure you'll recover. Sure, you'll get better. But, there's a lot of people out there that get harassed for no reason, that get, punished for things they never did or things they won't talk to people about. Nobody is entitled to someone's personal life. If it's a celebrity out there, sharing little bits and pieces of their life, a lot of people will say, well, they asked for it. No, they didn't ask for it. Okay. They are just trying to be human and utilize social media without 5,000 people getting stupid on them. That's just a number I threw out there. It's not a real number, but just without a bunch of people getting stupid on them. I've seen people posting about things that are dear to their heart, and other people saying, I can't believe that that you would be okay with this. Nobody says they're okay with the bad stuff. Okay. They're protective of the people, not the governments, the people. Okay. I know someone who sits in his almighty high castle and trolls people all the time. Oh, yeah. What is something no one likes? Mosquitoes. Let's call them internet mosquitoes. Good job, Muddy. Thank you. Yes, the internet mosquitoes, which in a way, when you think about it, is a very good comparison, right? Because they suck the blood out of you and then they leave you itchy. So, they leave you with a gift that you don't want. And that's exactly what, the internet mosquitoes of the internet do, right? They suck the life out of you in that moment, and then they leave you with zero peace because now you're itchy, right? And you're scratching, and it's hard. It's hard to walk away sometimes. It's hard to sit there and like, I'm not going to do this. But this goes on both sides. All right. I've seen people that make comments on other people's things. It's just like, please don't. Keep it to your own thing. But they flit in, bite, and then leave you miserable. Absolutely. I don't know why. They love my legs too. Knock on wood. They rarely ever bite my arm, but they're always on my legs. And it's just like, I don't know. Maybe because I have ninja skills and can feel them and like, but on my legs, it's like, Jesus. But yeah, I like that internet. I'm gonna write that down. Internet mosquitoes. They are internet mosquitoes. I know a big old internet mosquito that sits in his high castle just, trolling people all the time. But then when they get trolled, they can't handle it. You're mean. You're stupid. You're unintelligent. I mean, what kind of person responds like that? That's like total, like, 4th grade nonsense. But yeah. But anyways, yeah, going back to that one guy and his girlfriend, I was just horrified by, not horrified, like, like, oh my God. I was just kind of like, my mind was so blown at some of the comments. Because, after I read that article, it's like, I got to read the comments. And I was just like, what the actual hell again? Oh, yeah, we do get ankle biters where we live. But I mean, is that mosquitoes or are those ankle biters? So, I did make my own bug spray though. I'll give you a hint. Use a base oil. I usually use coconut oil because it's good on the skin, or almond oil with eucalyptus. Use mint. Any kind, like peppermint, eucalyptus mint, or, one of those. Sometimes even lavender. I mix a little lavender in. Because they hate the smell of peppermint. They do. They're both kind of the same thing. I know. They just kind of fly low and then. So, but I can't put up a bug zapper either because I don't know. I feel bad, and also it's gross when you have to clean it out. I've had family that had those. It's just like, But also, it's just like, I don't take the pleasure in watching something get zapped either. All right. I mean, I do feel bad, but I just don't want them around me. So yes, they will be internet mosquitoes. But yeah, so we, you know, I guess I'm using the celebrities right now as an example because you see it all the time, right? You see people who have had to defend their loved ones, you know, whether it's a partner or family or whatever, from internet trolls. It's like, wow, or, you know, I mean, I've known people, like, in person who would sit there and go, wow, they can do better. And I just look at them like, what is wrong with you? I mean, literally, I said that out loud. What is wrong with you? Well, it's like, why? Why? Because you don't approve? I'm really sure they care about your opinion. And then they just kind of go quiet, right? Because you're sitting there and you're like, who are you to make a judgment on somebody else's life? My God. And it's the same with women, right? Like Cher, for instance, she's dating a guy like half her age, almost half her age, not quite. And of course she gets shit for it, right? But if a guy does it, it's okay, right? I mean, if some 80-year-old dude or 70-something-year-old dude dates a girl who's in her 40s, all of a sudden it's okay. But if a woman does it, it's not. It's like, screw you people. I love Cher. She's always breaking boundaries for us. Pants. Wearing pants. I can't unhear it the way I've heard it. Pants. Wearing trousers. Before I keep making myself laugh. But, you know, when most women were being told to wear dresses, it's just kind of like, you know. But, wearing jeans. Yeah, she's a rule breaker. You gotta love Cher. She's a rule breaker. I like rule breakers. I'm not really very good at it. Older siblings, she's a rebel. But yeah, but I mean, when you see all these people just thinking that, you know, it's their right to say mean things. And these aren't even like bots or troll farms. These are just people sitting behind a keyboard being stupid, thinking that their comments aren't going to be seen by anybody and that it's just, you know, a one-off. It's not a one-off, okay? When you make a comment about somebody and they see it on their post, it is going to hurt them. But people don't care because they're not thinking about where they're seeing it. They're not thinking about where this particular thing is coming from. They're saying, oh, look, this person's tagged. I'm going to go comment on it and I'm going to be mean. But I'm not going to give a shit about whether or not it's hurting someone else's feelings. And then they'll just sit there and say, well, you're in the public eye. You need to be stronger. No, they don't. They don't. Okay, they don't. You don't get to tell somebody how they get to behave just because they're in the, you know, in the spotlight or because they are a public figure. You don't. We don't have that power. I mean, obviously some people think they do, but you don't get to tell people how to live your life. I mean, do you want someone telling you how to live your life? I mean, if you need it, fine. I'm happy to oblige. But the best thing I can say to people out there who are being internet trolled by, or internet mosquitoed by the mosquitoes, who are being bit by the internet mosquito, as hard as it is, just ignore them. Remember, to that girl out there with the footballer boyfriend, I know it's hard. You know, I was bullied a lot growing up. And I mean, that's right to my face, right? I mean, that's right to your face. But, and I was angry about it for many, many years. You know, it was always like the revenge daydream that you have. And then one day I woke up and I said, you know what? I don't need that anymore. This person loves you. Okay, I know you're never going to see this, but I'm going to tell you anyways. All right? This man loves you. That child of yours loves you. Don't listen to the trolls. For anybody out there being harassed who may actually see this, don't listen to the trolls. They are unhappy people sitting behind a computer causing disruption, causing people pain. And they're doing it on purpose because they probably have their own pain. They might be a hurt person hurting people, or again, they may fall under the dark triad and just hurt people for fun. And unfortunately, those kind of people exist. What did Sami say? I think in general, most of the women who make fun of Cher are just jealous of her because guys half their age won't date them. Yeah, right? Right? Because Cher's awesome. Marlene Dietrich and Katharine Hepburn did the same thing. You never saw them in dresses. That's true. That's true. They did. They did. And that's true. So, they were kind of they predated Cher, obviously. But they didn't expose their torso like our wonderful Cher did. So, and that's okay because, even wearing pants back then was just kind of a no-no for women. Most people would think you were that kind of woman. Seriously. Why? Because she decided to be comfortable? Seriously. Who doesn't? I mean, Marlene Dietrich would just probably roll over in her grave if she could see how comfortable we were now in leggings. Seriously. She'd be like, where were those things when I was younger? When I was alive. Katharine Hepburn too. Although she kind of existed around the time of leggings. But, she always liked those nice slacks, right? Those kind of loose-fitting slacks. And they both rocked them. Especially Marlene Dietrich. She was like, wow. I don't know if she was tall or not, but I mean, her legs feel like they went on forever in pants. So, so there you have 3 iconic women wearing pants, showing women, hey, it's okay. It's okay. And again, like Sami would say, just kind of turning it in a different direction. People make fun of them because they don't have the balls to do it, and people will say, well, that guy's just with her for her money. No. He genuinely cares about her. He's an old soul. Sometimes sometimes your past lives come back, and maybe they come back a little later than you expected them to, But her life is her life. Her personal life is her personal life. Okay? Nobody talks about all the good stuff she does, right? I mean, a sibling and I watched a whole documentary on an elephant and how I think she had something to do with the elephant being saved. And she actually came out to meet him. But nobody talks about that, right? No, we just talk about the guy that she's dating that's half her age. Anyways, to the footballer's credit, he hardcore. He doubled down and stood up for his girlfriend. And, I think that is true love. That is true love. But here's the thing. He shouldn't have had to. He shouldn't have had to. People will then say, well, she shouldn't make her stuff public. Okay, she doesn't make herself public because her Instagram page is her own page. All right? How about you just don't go over there and be mean? Just, if you're a fan, just be happy for them. All right? Just be happy for them. Don't judge them. Other people will say, there's other people out there. I can't believe they're splashing their kids across the internet. Screw you, all right? Not your kids. Not your kids. That's dangerous. Why is it dangerous? Okay? I mean, I'm sure that, parents who do that, they take precautions on their kids, but they're also very excited about their children. They shouldn't have to worry about the internet mosquitoes coming down on them. Wow, that's it? According to Google, Marlene Dietrich was 5 foot 4.5 inches. Seriously, she's my height. All right, I don't know. I'm going to have to, summon the spirit of Marlene Dietrich and go, excuse me, how did you do it? She also wore high heels, though. But, I think. Now I don't know. Am I making stuff up? I have no idea. But wow, seriously? She was only 5 foot, she's basically 5'5". Whatever. I need to figure all that out. Anyways, but I guess camera angles help too. But yeah, wow. Thank you, Muddy. Thank you for that. But yeah, so when we're talking about the internet mosquitoes, I mean, it doesn't matter who it is, okay? We talked about celebrities because that seems to be where it's very prevalent. People thinking that they have the right to weigh in on somebody's opinion or life when they're not being directly talked to. And that actually, I think a lot of times too, that makes people kind of hold back from sharing stuff that they want to share and programs that they work with, right? I mean, there's a lot of celebrities out there that get flack for just kind of throwing their attention to like medical aid and whatnot for people. And then people will come down on them and take it in a whole different direction. Like, well, I can't believe blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, seriously, what is wrong with you? It's like they're helping the people, not the government, the people. Okay. Oh, Liza looks like she has long legs also, but she's only 5'3". Judy was 4'10". Judy was only 4'10". Wow, Judy Garland was short. She's my cousin's height. But Liza's only 5'3". Well, I don't know though. Because, I mean, you can tell she's small because she surrounds herself with tall people. But you're right, she does look like she has legs that go on forever. Yeah. When I was thinner, I had legs that went on forever. I was told that by somebody. They're all, how tall are you? Your legs are so long. It's like, well, I'm not that tall. I'm 5'4.5". I was 5'5" for a while, but I guess I pushed that one out real hard one day. But yeah, I'm about 5'4", 5'4.5". So I'm not tall. I'm not short. I'm kind of average, but I still can't reach the tall things. I can reach the tall things for someone shorter than me. So, you know, tippy toes, climbing. I am definitely a counter climber. You know, and by that I mean when we're younger and we're short and there's not a tall person around, we have to, you know, put on our monkey suit and just climb things to get things. So, and I have long fingers because I was actually supposed to be, okay, so this is not even about internet mosquitoes. I was supposed to be 5'8", but my spine curved. But I actually measured my arms because they say from tip to tip, from your middle fingers, one tip to the other tip, is actually your height. Okay, how tall you are. And when I measured it, it was 5'8". So I'm like, I lost out on 4 inches, which is big. It's big time, right? When you're short. So I mean, you can reach things at 5'8". So anyways, now we're going to talk about political trolls. Just very briefly. Same idea as the celebrity trolls, but internet trolls or internet mosquitoes of the political variety. That's where the bot farms and the mosquito farms seem to come from. Okay, that's where they seem to come from. Where they just sit there and just type shit all day, and they don't care. They're just kind of like, oh, la, 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 I'm going to cause trouble today. What kind of trouble can I get into? And some of these people, again, are paid troll farms. Okay, they are paid troll farms. That's in quotes, so that's why I'm saying trolls. Those are paid troll farms. And, you know, look at the division that's happening in this country and in the world. Okay, I'm not going to name names, but I have a friend who had another friend who went through the same thing. Friend blocked him on everything, just like my friend did, because we didn't agree politically. And we came with facts. Okay, we come with receipts. Let's just put it that way. Against a certain minority group now who still has run of the country. We come with receipts. We come with facts. And when people don't like that, when people are kind of just, you know, so indoctrinated into a certain way of thinking, they're not going to believe that, and they will walk away from friendships. They will walk away from friendships, and it's sad. It's sad. Why would you throw something away? I lost a friend of 20 plus years because of this. Because I would post something and they would constantly call me out on it. And it's like, because of this, I fact check everything I post. Like legit fact check everything I post. And it's not always right. You know, sometimes I get it wrong, you know, because I don't fact check it hard enough. But for the most part, if I have a weird spidey instinct on it, I will look it up and see if this is true. And then I will, you know, I'll post it. But I don't just post things all willy-nilly. I have a Facebook friend that posted something all willy-nilly, and it's just kind of like, that's not even close to being true. Everything you just said about this party that you don't like is everything the party you do like does. And it's on the internet. But people will see memes that look, you know, that look pleasing to them. And they just repost it. And that's on both sides. You know, that's on both sides. And I admit, sometimes I get so angry, I just repost things. You know, which is why I try not to doom scroll much anymore. Like, people say, oh, did you see my post on Facebook? It's like, I haven't been on Facebook. I posted to Facebook, but I post to a lot of social media, but I don't look at a lot of it. And most of the times I just get stories from groups I belong to, which isn't bad, you know, which is still kind of cool stories. But going back to my Facebook friend who just posted something about the, the Obama Presidential Library and got all this little hate comments. Why? Why? Why do the mosquitoes gotta always attack someone else's opinion? If you're coming with facts, it's one thing. But if you're just being hateful and you're being angry and you're being whatever, just leave it alone. It's not your page. It's not your page. I don't understand why people have to come at people being so angry and so vile and so just the vitriol of it all, right? Just, it's like throwing gasoline on a fire, except this time they threw the gasoline and started the fire because all he did was post something on his page. I post mostly now to my stories because people tend to argue in my comments, but also it's my Facebook. That's like my last safe haven, it feels like. And, but like I said, I do post in my stories because it's just like, at some point I'm hoping somebody sees it and opens their eyes and says, oh, I'm not trying to be right. Nobody is. But when you have a party that's split down the middle against the rest of their party, and you have other people that they are aligning themselves with now and agreeing, there's a problem in that party. 30% approval rating. That's it. 30% approval rating. And yet people still just buy into it. Or they'll sit there and say, well, you make you're making my people sad with your posts. Well, then don't fucking read the posts, okay? That's all I can say. Because the way some people voted is hurting a lot of people now. But nobody wants to take accountability for it. Let me put it this way. Here's another example of extreme internet mosquitoing. We're having elections and we're just doing primaries right now to see who will run. And, when people do mail-in ballots, it can take a while to come through. Okay. So, that being said, a certain somebody is saying, oh, well, they're cheating. They have to be cheating. We're opening an investigation. Are you fucking kidding me? This is a blue state. Seriously. This is a blue state. I used to be a red person in a blue state. So I know it's a blue state. Okay? Now I'm a little more purple. Actually, I'm like light blue. I'm center left now. I cannot align up with myself with a party that doesn't match my values. And I respect all the people who are still a part of that party who are fighting to get it back. Like legit fighting to get it back. And I have nothing but respect for them. I know Republicans. Siblings are Republican. But she's also centrist. But yeah, I'm a little more light blue. Light blue, maybe a little purple. I don't know. I think I'm just light blue. I don't know. I can go on that all day. But the point is, it's a blue state. So explain to me how we're cheating. But that's always the thing, right? When a person's power is threatened, they are going to troll the shit out of everything. And of course, the people are going to believe it. The people that love and adore this person are going to believe it. Despite the fact that they too live in a blue state and know it's a blue state. They're going to sit there and go, huh? So for those who live outside of this country, I know that there's always the conservatives and the liberals, but the Democrats are considered blue, the Republicans are considered red. And then there's all different other kind of parties, but that's basically the majority party, the two parties. But I just saw older siblings comment. I still do that. Yeah, she still climbs things. Like sometimes I'll come into the kitchen, like, what are you doing? I could have gotten that for you. So dangerous. I told you, she's a gymnast. She is an athlete to the day she dies. She will be an athlete. But anyways, yeah. So I could go on about this forever, but I think where we find the most tension now with the internet mosquito trolls, internet mosquitoes, is in politics. You know, I will see something, a post that I like. It's like, oh, I like this. And then you inadvertently see the first comment and it's some troll just being negative. And it's not always paid trolls, right? It's not always the paid mosquitoes. It's sometimes legit the people who love this person or who love that party, that faction of the Republican Party. The Republicans, they don't want them in their party. But, you know, and there are people who will sit there and say, oh no, we're a strong party. No, you're not. You are a split ass party. I mean, very split. It's scary how split they are. And they're trying to take their party back from that far right wing group of people. But yeah, it's chaos here. It's turmoil. And people will say it's not, but it is. But here's my thing. If you don't like what someone's posting, don't look at their page. You know, don't unfriend them. Don't unfriend them. You can mute them. You can choose on Facebook, you can choose how much you see from them. Because at some point, we're going to move past this. And you have to decide whether or not you want to keep these people in your life. There's some people I prefer not to, but I do. Because I just, you know, when you hurt somebody I care about, you basically become dead to me. And I don't like my people being hurt. I'm saying that. I don't like my people being hurt. And I'm not going to say any more on that because, again, not really my story, but I know the person knows. But don't hurt my people. Don't hurt my people. Because I'm at this point now in my life where the mosquitoes don't bother me anymore. The actual mosquitoes do. God, I hate them. But like the internet mosquitoes don't bother me anymore. Sometimes when I realize that my blood pressure is going up, I'm like, nope, this is the provoking. This is what they want. And I will turn it off and walk away. You know, sometimes I'll type out a whole big thing and then I'll just delete it because it satisfies me, right? Like I responded, but I didn't. I'll just delete it. And it's like, yeah, there's enough people taking care of this. But I don't like it when things like that happens because, you know, I'm going to finish it with this last post I saw. It was great. It was great. This one lady said, she's all, don't come onto my page spreading your MAGA stuff. And then when people give you facts, you claim that they're bullying you. I know. I got called a lot of names before somebody unfriended me. And it's just like, how long have you known me? This is not me. I mean, they were mean. They were mean things. They hurt me. I mean, I was questioning myself for like a month on what kind of person I am and if I'm actually a bad person. And it took sibling like a month to undo all that. She had to walk me through it because I was in spiral mode. Like, am I really this bad? Am I this kind of person? Am I that kind? And she's like, it's one person that said this to you. You know, she's all, I tell you the opposite all the time. Why are you believing this one person? Because that's what internet trolling and cyberbullying does. It makes a person question themselves because it hurts. It hurts and it digs and it's basically below the belt. And that's how the internet mosquitoes fight. They fight below the belt. You know, as Muddy said, they flit in, they bite you, and they leave you miserable. But we can take our power back. With actual mosquitoes, bug spray. With internet mosquitoes, don't feed the trolls. Just block it. Just move on. You know, just move away from it. Don't feed it. Unfortunately, there will be someone out there that will feed it, but you do not need to give them your peace for their satisfaction. They don't deserve that from you. Okay? So, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Tomorrow, like I said, it might be a bit soapboxy because I'm a little upset about this. And this was actually my original show was for, that was supposed to be for yesterday and ended up being for tomorrow. I know tomorrow's Self-Care Wednesday, but, you know, we got enough self-care under our belt right now. So we're just going to talk about, you'll see tomorrow, because I'm very upset about this, and you'll just have to find out what it is when you come back tomorrow. So yes, we'll finish it off with what Muddy said. But that's the power of words. All it takes is one comment to cut someone deeply. We need to watch our words. We do need to watch our words. Unfortunately, with internet mosquitoes, they don't care. They specifically pick the, and we know this. I know Muddy knows this. I know older sibling knows this. I know everybody else that's watching this knows this. That they specifically pick their words to be angry and hurtful, to be spiteful, because they want to raise that in somebody. You know, like I said, they're a bunch of monkeys behind the computer, like in Superman. You know, just typing away nonsense and lies, and and of course the people believe it. And I'm not trying to act like I know everything. I don't. But when you are on the side of the majority, you really got to start wondering, when you're on the side of the minority, a group of people, the lower percentage of people, why there's so many people over here talking the way they are. With, a lot of times an older sibling and I have talked about this, that when you try to call people out on it, they double down. It's like, no, you're wrong. And that's it. That's all you get, right? You're wrong. No facts, no nothing to, support what they're saying, except a certain news channel or a certain group of publications. And it's like, you can control the free press here right now with the government, the way they're controlling our free press here, but you can't control the world. And that's where I do a lot of fact checking, is out in the world where it's not controlled, where, the press can't say, no, don't post that. Don't print that. So anyways, again, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Please take care of yourselves. Ignore the internet mosquitoes / trolls. So for no confusion, ignore them. They're not worth it. They're not worth your peace. All right. And as Muddy said, okay, that's the power of words. All it takes is one comment to cut someone deeply. So we need to watch our words. As we grew up knowing, if you've got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Okay? If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. I mean, that was like the golden rule of growing up. Clearly someone forgot to teach their kids that. Anyways, I'll be back here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, Facebook Live. All lives are public under Shelly Marie Lucas. You can catch me on YouTube and TikTok, and then it spreads from there, except to Instagram, because like I said, can't post long videos there. So have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. To everybody that came on, I appreciate you. To everybody who commented, thank you very much. And I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day.